My house wasn't that far, so I arrived before I got too tired. I stopped on the porch and immediately heard somebody's loud breathing behind my back. I turned and saw Catherine. Go off, Queen. What the hell? I asked in astonishment. She walked to me all red and sweaty from the effort. Shut up! She snatched the keys out of my hands, quickly opened the door and pushed me inside. Oh? What is this? God, she sealed my lips with a kiss and we fell to the floor. I was so shocked that I couldn't resist. Interesting. Sometimes you wait for something for so long that when it comes, you just can't believe it's real. Even if things weren't the way they had to be, we were together, here and now. And in the future, come what may. Not gonna lie. I rocks with it. I rocks with her just like, shut up and smooch. Like, okay. The fact that she chases him all the way down, like, I think I'm really starting to warm up to Catherine. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm really starting to warm up to Catherine. I was not expecting this. I rocks with her though. So far. So far. But like I said, she seems like Himitsu was the one I gave so much of the benefit of the doubt for. But like she knew about what was going on with her dad. She played a part in that. You know, she was well aware of it. She was actively playing a part in it. Catherine, I genuinely believe, she's just pulled around by the will of her mother. She didn't leave because of Nikolai. She didn't fucking do that to spite him. In fact, it probably tore her up. But then she comes back and she tries to warm up to him, and her mother starts doing shit. Now it's ruining her life, and he wants someone to pin the blame on. He assumes that they're in cahoots together. It's I feel so bad for Catherine. I really do. And part of it's because I'm an asshole, but still. Somewhere in the depth of my mind, I could hear the sound of the front door opening. Yeah. Nika-kun! Was I still asleep? Was Catherine still on top of me? Nika-kun, are you home? Dreaming a dream about me lying in my room, Catherine sleeping peacefully nearby, and he was coming to visit. To make dinner, maybe? The three of us would sit at a big dinner table, drink tea and eat pies, discuss school stuff, and laugh a lot. Then we would all fly to the moon, where we'd be met by violet hippopotamuses. Nika-kun, are you sleeping? I would have never thought that hippopotamuses were the dumbest animals on Earth. But we were on the moon now, dancing in a circle with violet moon hippopotamuses. Damn, homie, you have some interesting dreams. Fucking hell. Quietly whispered, finally fully awake. Katya, get up! Katya! Tried to stir her up. What now? Catherine mumbled in her sleep and tried to turn to the other side. Himitsu's here, get up! Oh, they totally boned, okay. Also, nice. Also, I might have to... We'll see. Well, yeah, Huh. That should be fine? That should be fine. YouTube shouldn't get mad at me for that. She's covered. This should be fine. She needed just a second to realize what was happening. Katya abruptly turned around and looked at me in confusion. There's something else in her eyes. Fear. I hoped that I would deal with the situation. What was I supposed to do? Hide her under the bed? Under different circumstances, it would even be funny. Nika-kun, are you here? Fuck. Catherine whispered vexedly. I feel that. Hey, Himitsu! What's good? The panel slowly moved aside and Himitsu entered the room. Katya only had the time to cover herself with a blanket. Oh. Wait, was the original sprite nude? Because she was at least wearing underwear in the oh. Oh. Himitsu looked at us slowly and uttered, Nika. She didn't even look especially surprised. Just carefully, unblinkingly stared at us with her mouth slightly agape. Catty-chan? The worst that could happen, happened. I had no expectations for what was to come next. To a certain degree, I was even interested in how this tragicomic situation would turn out. For who would it be a tragedy, and for who would it be a comedy? What if we were all to laugh at it and go drink tea with violet hippopotamuses? Excuse me. Himitsu finally forced out, but did not move a muscle. Catherine suddenly hopped up from the bed and wrapped herself in the sheet, picked up her clothes from the floor, and ran out of the room, eyes cast down. Himitsu kept standing in the doorway, stunned. Silently, like a memorial to my lapse from virtue. I don't know what to say. My voice sounded surprisingly calm and even a bit defiant. Like, what are you staring at me for? After what I learned about you yesterday, this is nothing. Himitsu didn't reply and simply left the room. Soon the front door in the hall closed behind her. Well, this is it. I told the now empty house, jerked myself up from the bed and went to the kitchen. I had a stash somewhere, a bottle of whiskey left for my father. For some reason he disliked vodka, but at the same time thought Japanese sake was too weak. I opened it and poured half a glass. Perhaps in another situation it would be nice to get some ice, but now it kind of slipped my mind. The fiery liquid scorched my throat and warmed my insides. What a disgusting aftertaste after all. How could people like this stuff? I slowly sank down onto a chair and poured myself another glass. Now it was all over for sure. Even after Ito's phone call I had eavesdropped on, there was still some hope. What if I had simply misunderstood? What if it was a prank? Not that I had anyone to blame. It was obvious how things would turn out. And if subconsciously I had probably already come to terms with losing Catherine, and even reacted to the situation with her mother like an unfortunate accident more than anything. But Himitsu, at the last possible minute, I refused to believe she could do something like that to me. Did it even matter what I believe now? Did it matter if she had really betrayed me? Even if not, now it was all over. How the hell could I know? I fisted loudly at the table. The glass fell to the floor, while the bottle of whiskey just jumped up slightly, landing in its rightful place with a dull sound. I looked at it closer. Scottish, with glass almost half a finger thick. It would take some effort to break. More effort than my relationship with Himitsu, as it turned out. I seemingly didn't care about Catherine anymore. It was my fault, and there was nothing to do about it. What do you mean you don't care about Catherine? But couldn't I have thought about the consequences? Not just for myself, for her. I hate it. I yelled and grasped my head. I hate you. I'm scared to admit to myself that I was talking about Catherine. After all, she wasn't to blame. No! Homegirl isn't to blame. I could have just refused. I could have. Another big gulp of whiskey calmed me down a little. I just had to figure out how to live from now on. Piece of cake. I smirked and cast a dull glance at the bottle. I'll call her now. Sometime later, the voice of Himitsu's father sounded in the receiver. Hello? What if she told him everything? No, that would be nonsense. What if she was crying in her room right now? And then I would barely coherently ask to call her to the phone. What could I even say to Ito after what I'd learned about him? Hello? I hung up and returned to the kitchen. Damn, good thing y'all didn't have caller ID back then. On the other hand, drinking myself to death sounds like quite the idea. Grabbed the bottle and sucked on it. One gulp, another. I suppressed my gag reflex. I managed to down about a half before I started feeling too sick. God damn. The walls of the kitchen were rocking, the floor pretending it was the ceiling for some reason. I couldn't fully understand what I had lost and if I had anything left at all. Perhaps tomorrow Himitsu would pretend nothing had happened. Or would she sulk? Or pretend I don't exist? Maybe that's what Catherine was after. To take revenge on me. But God, for what? It wasn't about revenge. She just wanted you, homie. Fuck. He spends all this time pining after Catherine. He gets Catherine, and then it's like, why would she do this to me? Why would she show me affection? Who the hell does she think she is? Like, motherfucker. Now I'm getting pissed. Because in the last two routes I went down, even when you were locked into those girls, it was like, oh, but what about Catherine? But now that you're making moves on Catherine, it's like, oh, but what about Himitsu? Like, you motherfucker. Like, I get it. Prior to this event, he has said he loves Himitsu. But they didn't officially become an item, until, the second round where he goes up to there and he breaks in after Ryunosuke tries to chase him down. That's when they become, like, an official couple, right? Still, I mean, I get it. He did tell Himitsu he loves her. Technically, I guess you could see this as cheating. Even though they weren't, like, officially, going on dates and whatnot. I mean, they did. They went to that movie date, I guess. But even still, you know, they hadn't really acknowledged each other as a couple. They had any smooch moments. I mean, yes, you could still view it as cheating if you want to say, nah, he cheated on her. Like that's valid. I respect that viewpoint. Um, it is a rough situation for sure. I get it. He was so yeah. His mind state was on Himitsu, but then Catherine comes back. I just feel like everything we've seen about Catherine so far, like he shouldn't have a reason to be pissed at her. He shouldn't have a reason to think it was revenge. He should understand that her mother's been doing some crazy shit, and she's well. I mean, should he understand that by that point? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've seen as much as I've seen, and I kind of know what to expect from Ms. Winters, that I have a lot of sympathy for Catherine. And I know Catherine didn't do what she did out of malice. I truly believe that. Well, maybe. There might have been a hint to that, but it was not to take revenge on Nikolai. She didn't want to inconvenience Nikolai. I'm sure she would be fine. I'm sure she doesn't give a damn about what Himitsu's thinking. That's who she wants revenge on, right? But Nikolai, that's a whole other case. I doubt she did what she did. I doubt she got down and dirty with him just to upset Nikolai. I'm sure she's more than fine to upset Himitsu. But I just feel like she genuinely wanted Nikolai. I finished the whiskey and was just sitting, staring ahead. It was far into the night, and the silence of sleeping Tokyo was hinting clearer with every minute that I had died. I didn't want to cry. It was as if I'd forgotten how to. Evolved, casting all unneeded feelings and emotions away like an atavism. I'd be able to go on living automatically, like the robots from science fiction novels. Would be able to live, exist, and then I'd just stop. But why wait at all then? My cowardice and self-pity made me feel unbearably disgusted. As if I had a goal in life, a mission, a greater destiny like those spaceship pilots from Kyosuke's anime. I wished it was that way. If I couldn't live for myself, I would gladly give my life for someone or something else to finally fill it with meaning. Perhaps Himitsu needed me once, but not anymore. Yes, okay, you're on the right mindset. The old dusty tatami slowly began to approach, and then I lay on something soft, like a cloud, flying off to the land of dreams where there was no tomorrow and no yesterday, no pain and no suffering, only happiness and justice for all. I was sitting behind my desk, staring out the window. The teacher was monotonously muttering something about the history of Japan's Middle Ages. God, why did I need to know any of that? Shoguns, katanas, and harakiri had all been left in the distant past. Now we were launching satellites into the cosmos, crossing oceans in mere hours, and possessed the universal right of suffrage. At least, most of us did. Now if I were a samurai in ancient Japan... The bell to recess rang. Hi, what's your daydream about? Catherine approached me. You, of course. I can imagine. She smiled mysteriously. I'm sure you want to be here as little as I do. Well, I guess. Katya let out a joyful laugh. And where would you like to be? In that park. That park? That very park. Yeah, sure. You were somewhat embarrassed, but was saved by Himitsu as she entered the class. Nico-kun, Hari-chan. Hey. Hello. You know, I just wanted to ask if you wanted to go to the new ice cream cafe at the station. Unless the two of you have a date planned, I mean. She added impishly. There's no date. Yeah, exactly. We're going on a date. Catherine bent down and firmly grasped my hand. All right. I won't be a bother then. Damn, I feel bad there. Like, I know what Catherine's doing. She's like, nah, girl. You ain't gonna get your chance to warm up to him. This is my man right here. We're going on a date. Don't think you're gonna make moves on my man. And I respect that. But also, like, Himitsu could still be a homie. You could still go and do things together, like homies. Like, y'all can still go on dates and fuck, right? But, like, you can still hang out with Himitsu. No need to leave her in the dust like that. I get it. Catherine doesn't really like her because she's trying to make moves on her man, which is totally understandable. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just Himitsu's face. Himitsu's like the only one when she pouts and starts crying. It legitimately tugs at my heartstrings. Even though I'm very suspicious of her, like, It hurts. Himitsu said, and was already about to leave. You aren't really... I guiltily mumbled. No, she is. Catherine's voice sounded unusually rude. Katya, what are you... Oh, so I am. Himitsu turned around and gave the two of us a forbidding look. Imagine that. Girls, don't fight. I timidly tried to interfere. Maybe it's you who'd better leave. Just so you know, things have been going wonderfully for Nikako and me until you came back to Japan. Wonderfully? With a hypocritical bitch like you? Alright, I'm not here. I decided to demonstratively take myself out of the picture. But you really aren't, Nick. Catherine said, surprised. What? You killed us. All of us. Whoa, goddamn. Nikolai, where's your dream going, my guy? I don't like this. In a single moment, the class was flooded with red light coming from everywhere at once. Bloodied students with faces distorted and inhuman grimaces appeared from under the desks. Half the head of one was missing. The other's arm was swinging on sinew alone, and a girl with a torn-off lower body was crawling at me. I shifted my gaze to Catherine, desperately looking for protection. She was deathly pale, covered with a blood-stained bridal net. Is this how you wanted everything to end? Holy Jesus Christ! Someone placed their hand on my shoulder, and I saw Himitsu with a giant hatchet slung to the center of her head. Hi, Nico-kin. I loved you so much. I thought we would always be together. I loved you too. It was as if Catherine's voice was coming from under the ground, cold, distant, filled with pain and endless suffering. You could have chosen me. Or me. Shut up already! What was this? Was I going insane? I didn't know what was going on. Didn't want to know. I didn't do anything wrong. It's you. It's all your fault. You. I looked at Himitsu. If you really love me and want to be with me, you could have been more assertive. We've been together as friends for so many years. Don't you understand? I'm just too afraid to do something wrong, to screw up and destroy this connection between us. One today is worth two tomorrows. How could I know if things will work out for us if... And you. I turned to Catherine. Do you even understand yourself? Do you know what you're doing and why you are doing it? If you no longer feel anything for me and don't care about me, then why do you act like you do? You think I'm a complete idiot? You didn't have to return. You could have convinced your mother to transfer you to a different school. Who would believe all this nonsense? Or did you just want to torture me? The flow... Oh my god, okay, Christ. The flow of blood from Himitsu's head grew stronger, and Catherine's net, now resembling a grave shroud, couldn't hide the empty sockets of the fleshless skull. What? You. Both of you. But why? Nick. You killed us. No. I screamed so hard I ran out of air. I screamed so hard I became deaf from my own scream. I screamed so hard I melted into this horror. And echoing around me was the devilish sepulchral laughter of the only people I really loved. Jesus Christ. My scream was silent. I lay paralyzed, unable to even open my mouth. The insides of my head rang with howls, but the room was absolutely silent. I tried to move my hand, but achieved no result. Instantly, a dark silhouette of a man in a long robe seemed to emerge in the far corner of the room. Not the ghost of Christmas future! He seemed to be lingering with gloom, burning with darkness, flaming tongues coldly scorching me even from this far. The clock was slowly ticking, ever slower with each passing moment. Finally, he started to approach me, his movements as unhurried as the run of the second hand. When he reached the bed, it felt like every single second lasted at least an hour. And then he leaned over me, his hands pressed strongly on my ribcage. I was suffocating. With the last bits of strength I tried to scream, but he was still mute. I peered into the hood and couldn't see the face. I knew it was death. God damn, homie. Yeah, good morning. Holy fuck. I wasn't expecting that. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. They did something similar like this in fucking Everlasting Summer. Like, one of the routes is entirely, like, I mean, big Everlasting Summer spoilers, but I mean, hey, if you haven't played it by now, what the fuck? It's absolutely free, and it's been out for how many years now? That's on you at this point. But one of the routes is almost entirely a dream, right? I think it's one of the unlockable routes. It's the 5th route you unlock after doing the first 4. And it's entirely a dream for the most part. There, like, the beginning and end of it, those are actual, like, romance parts in there. But the vast majority of it is a dream. And in this dream, like, every one of the love interests gets fucking brutally murdered. Well, technically not murder. Some of them, commit suicide. But, like, it's fucking insanity. So I guess I should have expected something like that, but oh my god. It was one thing to see Catherine all fucking... It's one thing to hear, like, the descriptors, right? To be like, oh, I saw this, someone missing their head, someone who was sawn in half, right? But then to see Himitsu with a giant fucking hatchet sticking out of her head, and then there's another one with, like, blood running down her face, like, god fucking damn, dude. That's just too much. Ah! My own scream woke me up. Was it just a dream? God, I hope so, bud. It felt like I hadn't had nightmares in years. Or any dreams at all, for that matter. I was sitting in my bed, sweating and gasping intensely. Well, I had it coming. Even if it all happened in reality, I would have deserved it. Himitsu seemed to not understand what had happened at first. And Catherine? She ran away, disgraced and humiliated. I don't know which one of them made me feel more ashamed. I acted despicably and cowardly towards Himitsu, and as for Katya, what was that even? Definitely not an attempt to bring everything back the way it used to be. Well, I most probably lost Himitsu forever. That's good. Let's run with that. At least no words or apologies could redeem me in her eyes. Even if she would forgive me in the end. She would not forget. No. Just pretend it was all behind us. And was I ready to forgive after everything I had learned about her? Perhaps what happened for the best? If we didn't communicate, she wouldn't be able to spy on me. However, things were completely different in Catherine's case. After yesterday, she definitely couldn't claim she had no feelings for me. There was a chance that all of this was just an elaborate plan of revenge, or that she was unable to figure herself out. Whatever. Love is better than hatred, but hatred is better than indifference. And surely any sort of indifference is better than the I don't care so much I can't shut up about it attitude. That's exactly what Catherine had been doing the entire week. At every opportunity, she let me know that her return to Japan had nothing to do with me, that she cared nothing for my feelings. Even yesterday's phony melodrama. By now, my emotions had cooled somewhat, and yesterday's events no longer appeared to be some tragic coincidence. She must have come to me with a goal in mind. Perhaps she wanted to explain how things really were, apologize or something like that. It was easier to believe that her main goal was sex than that. I arduously rolled off the bed and groaned. I didn't know how a marathon runner feels after winning the Olympics. This was exactly the sensation of the morning after an Alco marathon. I wondered how many times Himitsu had found me like this, lying senselessly like an animal in various parts of my house. My parents' death hit me hard, but I started drinking regularly after Catherine and I broke up. At first I still attended school, pretending to be a normal person, would get shit-faced every night. And then I fully realized the veracity of the saying, if drinking stands in the way of your work. God, I don't know what would have become of me if not for Himitsu. She would come every day, cook, there was always a hangover breakfast waiting for me on the table, even wash my vomit-soaked clothes. At that time I didn't feel ashamed. A drunkard doesn't care much about morals. A heavy drunkard cares even less. Later on I simply didn't want to recall what had been happening, including the way I'd been treating Himitsu. Of course I was grateful to her, but this gratitude was sort of perfunctory, more like the relationship of a Japanese employee and his boss. I was really missing that hangover breakfast right about now. I managed to make something resembling scrambled eggs, but couldn't force myself to eat it. Only water and aspirin didn't cause me to immediately gag. The autumn sun was still warm, but a light breeze had already started to blow in from outside. Sakura leaves would fall soon, and a new chapter of my life would start. I heard the sound of an approaching car. It turned out to be Himitsu's father. It would be better if he didn't see me in this condition. It would probably be best if he never saw me again. I was pointlessly staring out the window. Our street was always pretty quiet, but on Sundays it seemed to completely die off. Naturally, polite Japanese people usually tried not to disturb their neighbors anyway, but it appeared as if on Sundays they hid in their cellars, which was a pity. A little hustle and bustle could help me right about now.